U.S. billionaire Elon Musk has riled politicians here in Germany by voicing his support for the far-right Alternative for Germany party ahead of parliamentary elections in February. In an opinion piece published in the conservative Welt am Sonntag newspaper, Musk called the AfD the last spark of hope for this country. Comments that governing politicians and opposition leaders alike are calling election interference. It's fueling a debate in Germany about free speech in the media. The opinion editor of Die Welt resigned after the opinion piece was published. For more on this, we can speak now with our chief international editor, Richard Walker. Richard, why is a billionaire Trump supporter in the U.S. publishing an endorsement for the election here in Germany?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good question, isn't it? And of course, there are sort of two sides of it. I mean, why is Elon Musk getting involved in German politics, but also why is he getting involved in politics at all? And of course, that really began in the United States. And I was in the US in the last couple of months of the election campaign there. I actually went to the Donald Trump rally where Musk, for the very first time, took to the stage with Donald Trump. And you remember the photographs of him kind of jumping for joy on the stage there. And you could really feel that he was psyched up by that he was really feeding off the crowd. And the crowd absolutely loved him. I mean, this was somebody who almost overshadowed Donald Trump at his own event. But yeah, people have been talking in the US, but also here about what is motivating that. Is there a business reason why he's doing that? And in the US, you can see business reasons why he would be wanting to get close with the Trump administration in terms of, you know, some of Musk's business very heavily dependent on government contracts, for instance, doing a lot of business with American space agencies, wanting to influence American regulation. But if you transpose that onto Europe, and it's not just in Germany, but also in the UK that you've seen Elon Musk getting politically involved now, the AfD are not going to form the next German government, that is for sure. And Nigel Farage, who Musk has been supporting in the UK, is also very far away from that potential goal. So it does raise the question of really whether this is ideological. And we see Musk supporting what he sees as a sort of version of Trumpism in Europe, whether it be in the United Kingdom with the Reform Party of Nigel Farage or the Alternative for Germany here in Germany, which he represents in his op-ed as a party that is kind of, you know, good common sense, sort of old school, sort of nationalist values, and where he tries to brush off a lot of the criticism that the party faces for its extremist tendencies.
You know, this raises the question, Richard, you know, how well does Musk know the AfD party? I mean, parts of it are classified by German security authorities as right-wing extremists.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing we can say pretty much for sure about Elon Musk is that he would not care about German intelligence services and their classification of the AfD. He would reject that. I think it's safe to say as exactly the kind of establishment control that is something that he says that he really wants to oppose. But I think what's quite interesting is that he, in supporting the AfD so vocally here, has certainly gone beyond Donald Trump himself and wider Trump world. So Donald Trump has certainly been associated with Nigel Farage, who I just mentioned there in the United Kingdom, but Trump world is a bit wary about the AfD. And I think I can say that from experience also speaking to people in Washington, D.C. They see the AfD as something that is potentially a bit of a no-go area. And I think that's not so much always to do with their policies, but more with the tendency of some members of the AfD to downplay Nazi history. And of course, that is something that would not necessarily go down well in the United States. So I think it's one thing that's going to be really interesting to watch is whether Elon Musk remains an outlier in supporting the AfD or if other parts of Trump world kind of follow him in this direction.
And briefly, Richard, tell us about reactions to Musk's AfD endorsement here in Germany.
Yeah, well, the AfD itself has been celebrating this big time, but all the other parties are crowding in and criticizing this, that's for sure. I mean, I think the biggest challenge here is for the mainstream conservatives, the centre-right CDU-CSU party. Friedrich Merz is running for chancellor for that party, going into the elections very soon. He said, "I can't recall another comparable case of election interference in a friendly country in the history of Western democracy," which which might sound slightly overblown, but there's a lot of fear of where this goes from here.
Richard, thank you very much. That was DW's Chief International Editor, Richard Walker.